Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Karl Michael Meinecke from BBDM, German Printing and Media Industries Federation, and I will give you a short presentation today on the issues of standards for the printing and media industries worldwide, ISO standards. We are involved in that development for many, many years, and the output is, in the meantime, a big output, and it's considerable references for the process, prepress, printing process, and also postpress processes based on standards as a reference and as a communication reference. So it's about the support of quality management and of an economic and ecologic production. So I've got here an abstract on this first slide. You can maybe read it when it's provided on an online forum. So we have these International Standards Committee, which was founded already in 1969, and it gained momentum in the late 80s, we can say. Before that time, there were only a few standards around, and with the advent of desktop publishing and of computer publishing, these things emerged and get more input and more also critical issues to deal with. We have the ISO Technical Committee Graphic Technology, which is ISO 130, under the umbrella of ISO organization in Geneva. And the members of this ISO TC 130 are by now 27 participating members from all over the world, and another 18 observers. So we have now 14 different working groups and additional 6 task forces for the different areas to be addressed, and a total of around 160 or even a little bit more experts involved in that standardization work. We have here some, I just put in here some 4 or 5 working groups which are most important in this context. The first one is the prepress data exchange, that's working group 2, which deals with PDFX standards, for example, or with a standard referring to the ICC technology, which is developed by the ICC, but it has been adopted to an ISO standard. This is all the prepress stuff, including test charts and standard color image data for proofing and etc. The second the working group 3 is dealing with process control and with metrology, and this is by now the biggest, or most experts are working in this working group right now, and this is dealing with process standardization, with measurement technologies, with standards like ISO 12647 you've heard of one or another day, and a lot of standards in this area with process control and with metrology of the prepress and the printing process. There is another working group, which is working group 3, which deals with materials, media and materials, which is especially printing inks, some paper-related stuff, testing and all things like that. And we have another working group 5, which is dealing with safety and ergonomics. This refers mostly to the machinery, to the machine manufacturers, printing machines and other systems which need to have safety and ergonomic settings on their machinery, which is required in an international standard. There's another, as an example, another rather new working group, which is working group 11. It's dealing with the carbon footprint on a printed product, and it produced by now one standard, ISO 16759. So I give you just as an example of the work of these some 72 standards are completely on the list by now on the TC 130 standards committee, and I will focus on three main points, examples to make clear what the intention and what the benefit of these standards is. The first is in the prepress data exchange area. These are the PDFX standards. We are developing these PDFX standards for some 15 years already. It was the original idea to have a regular, normal, let's say, PDF with specifications for print production, because there are a number of requirements you need to observe when you make a data file for print production. You cannot have, for example, some video content in it. You should not have sticky notes on it, which you can do on a PDF, or some other additional information which cannot be printed properly. And so, but on the other hand, you have a number of requirements to be observed and to be maintained if you want to have a proper print file for different purposes, for different processes, including color profiles and so on. And so we have started with the PDFX series in about the year 2000, and the first one is PDFX 1A, which is now the latest version, which is on 2003, and this is still by now, the most popular or the most file format in use, because X1A is a finished file, PDFX file, which you can go directly to print. You are not expected, or it's not expected to make some changes or some modifications on this file. This is a file for print, and you are sure if you are, for example, a prepress provider, and you are providing such a file to a print shop, and it's the correct printing condition and everything is in place, so they can print it correctly if they use standard references and standard production environment, then this will be a perfect job. So there is no rendering issues or no things coming up with missing fonts and something. You have in the PDFX 1A, you have everything in it, and that's for that reason the most popular exchange format still today. We have but other data files, which is PDFX 3, this is the former version, and PDFX 4, which is more capable of color-managed workflows. It has you can render this and you can do more with it. It is not fixed in a way like the PDFX 1A, but it needs more workflow competence and more know-how to handle this. So this X3 was with including overprint issues. This is already some 10 years ago, and rather new, published in 2010, is the X4, which has transparencies, all kind of transparencies and layers in a PDF, which is very complex and very difficult to some point to handle. But this is a requirement today if you have some transparencies in an artwork or in a brochure or something that's very often used by graphic arts people more and more, and so we need to deal with that. So these standards are the basis for the data processing, data creation and processing for print shops. Supporting tools, we are also developing some supporting tools based on these standards and referring to the standards. The 12647 printing process standards and the PDFX and some others are involved in such a package like the Altona test suite, which is here shown. It's published just recently as a second version, as an application kit, including some a series of reference prints of different printing conditions, mainly offset, and some 52 different papers and different motifs of these printing forms with visual and measurement evaluation. And we have all the data which you can use for output of proofing on a proof, and you have the reference prints as a comparison, visual and measurement comparison for the whole process. So you can go and check your proofing system, but you also can produce the complete production up to the print. And in this Altona test suite is also a technical test suite. This was the first one, was technical 1. It's from the first version. It's still included. And the second one is technical 2, which is very complex and very challenging and demanding for the industry, especially for the producers of CTP rips, and so not so much difficult for proofing proofing rips. But anyway, it's a challenge to get all these PDFX requirements fixed and the rendering correct according to these test forms, which is very complex, and yeah, includes the whole range of information you need here. So this is also, of course, with the development of characterization data and of ICC profiles, which are always produced parallel to the development of these standards, of the standard for the printing process 12647, but also for other purposes. And it's provided by FOGRA, characterization data are provided by FOGRA on their website, and the ICC profiles are from the European Color Initiative, ECI, on their website as a download, free download. So we have this example 2, which I already addressed that, the process control, the printing process, the standardization of printing process, which includes mainly the separation, the data separation, RGP to CMYK, the proofing and the print run, the final production print. So this is the 12647 series, and we have quite a number of standards. I will just address the most important ones. The first one is a general one, parameters and measurement methods. This applies to all other parts. And this part 2, this 12647 part 2 is probably the most important, or the best known or most in use standard. It's for offset, for sheet fed offset and heat set web offset. And by the way, it's also used as this offset reference printing conditions is used today in many cases for digital printing as a reference, because there is right now no digital print standard in this way available. There are some things under development but not yet ready. This offset reference is, because it's so widespread, it's in many cases also a data reference for digital printing production. We have the part 3 with the cold set web offset. This is newspaper. Part 4 is gravure publication, catalog, magazine, commercial printing. And the part 7 is focused on proofing system, on digital proof, hard copy proof. So this is just a short overview on the 12647 series, which are a core part of, more or less, of the standardization work at all. So we have also supporting tools for this based on the 12647, but also based on many other standards, including also the PDFX application, the proofing standard, the color measurement things, printing inks. Printing ink is also defined in a number of standards, and many other things. This is in the process standard offset, which is a comprehensive manual which was published some 1.5 years ago for the last time, and has a lot of workflow recommendations and and practical guidelines for the work, which is much more than the standards itself, because standard itself is not the standard. If you have such a standard and look to it, it's not so much a manual or something you are using really in your print shop or in your prepress production, because it's just some references, it's some requirements are mentioned, and are some, of course, in the reference to what it's to be used for, but it's not really a manual you can work with or really make your workflow step by step accordingly. So there are other applications or extended information like this process standard offset, which is a manual, and this is for many years. This is the 5th or even the 6th edition we have. It started already in the early 80s with the technology of that time, and now it's CTB based and typically without film processing and state of the art, but there's a lot of things in it. So we have also for the image evaluation or the quality of image reproduction, we have produced a couple of years ago in 2007 this set of Roman 16 reference images, BVDM reference images, which are covering the whole range of color. It's this CMYK, it's the primary colors, or RGB, and it's also some brown and olive, and some highlight and mid-tone and dark tones in the CMYK in a color version, and then on black and white only, and it has some pastel colors and some very colorful motifs which are out of gamut in many cases. So you can check with these specially prepared images your workflow and your production, and can use this as a reference image, because we had lots of reference images, and still many manufacturers have their reference images, their test images, etc. But these were all different in a way, and this was an approach to get it more in a unified and comparable way. And we were quite successful with this Roman image, because they are very widespread and in use worldwide and as reference. And we have also used it in the Altona package, for example, and in many other projects. So we have a third example, and this is the last one. This is the carbon footprint of printed products, because we are more and more getting aware of environmental issues also in the printing industries, and are with this project are a little bit pioneer and well ahead of many other industries. In this case, we developed in 2007-2008 a calculator for the CO2, for carbon footprint for printed products, which could be used by our members or by print companies to deal with that issue, to reduce, to get the information on how many CO2 is in a production, to make some efforts to reduce it, and the third point is to compensate it. And there was also a standard developed, ISO 16759, which is the quantification and communication for calculating carbon footprint of print media products. And this is where we also were involved in that development of that standard. And our system, which is the Climate Initiative on a web-based system for printing process, is in sync with that 16759 ISO standard. So we have a lot of efforts put in here. It's a web-based system for various printing processes, for all printing processes, offset, gravure, screen printing, and digital printing with their specific requirements. And the aim is, as I already told you, is first to avoid or to reduce the CO2 content as good as possible by saving energy and making leaner workflows, etc., and to evaluate the existing CO2 amount. And the third step is, which is an option, to compensate the CO2 of various printed products. So this is there is an increasing demand also from the customer side, and it is to some point or to some extent it's also a kind of selling point for a print service provider to have this as a standard option or a standard service with its production to say, okay, we can compensate or we can deal with the CO2 with this print shop and with the production. So there's the increasing demand, and we have also scientific and governmental approval of that system, which is on a critical review from time to time. By now there are 400 plus more than 400 printing companies using the system daily for their production, and we have launched in 2010 also a special calculator for digital printing applications, which is also very well accepted in the market with more than 80 digital printing companies using that specific system. So this about the whole the production as the core production, which is the prepress printing and finishing workflow and production steps, but also the things around, which is the transport of material or of the finished products by different means of transport. Also the incoming material, most of it is, most important is the paper or the substrate. Also some energy is of course used with electricity, water, gas, etc. And the disposal is also an aspect in this chain, complete chain. And finally also the employees. Even if you have your employees going every morning to your company, also this is included in a certain way to the impact or to the amount of CO2 in the production. So this is just an example which is a little bit not very good to see, but you see here different print run numbers from a small amount of some 200 up to 500,000, 5,000, 10,000, etc. copies of a printed product. And so the green bar is showing the amount of paper or the CO2 impact of the paper, which is the most important one, especially if you have a high circulation, of course. And this is shows some result of such a compensation or such a calculation, evaluation of CO2 in a print job, in a production. So we have quite also this logo for the compensated product, which is given a number, an ID number, and it shows in the system, in this compensating system, that this job has been compensated and could be reviewed on a website registry on our website. So, as I already told you, we have more than 400 companies in Germany and in Austria, but also in some other countries, because it's also available in English, this website and this system. And we have more than 40,000 tons CO2 were compensated within a period of some 5 years, from 2008 to 2013, with a growing of the number, and this is quite a good result for the industry, because the impact, the amount of CO2 in a printed product is not that high. There are other industries which has much more CO2 output and production than printing. But it is also an amount, and it contributes to the CO2 amount at all, and we are focusing on that. But other more energy intensive industries have much more, of course. So I've given here also some sources where you can get some additional information and some, maybe some best practice examples from practitioners. We have practitioners all over Europe from different printing processes which are involved in the development and in the application of, for example, the print standards 12647 for the development of some profiles and some characterization data and the application in different processes, for example in heat set, web offset with different substrates, but also in other processes. And these are over the years contributing to that development and are finally producing a really important input to that standardization. Yeah? So this is also one example of the media standard print, Medienstandard Druck. We have as a reference brochure with all the printing conditions in it, shows you in a download here available. Other sources are the Ghent PDF Working Group and the PDFX Ready group in Switzerland, which are two groups dealing with the application and further development of PDF file processing and file transfer, and also with some special areas with packaging and with label and with all kind of different products as kind of a job-specific requirements for this PDF production. That's it for the moment. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions or some comments, please go ahead.